The Yellow River Dragon King stayed stoic, his dragon scales not even showing. However, the protective spiritual glow around him dimmed significantly. He had actually withstood the first strike with sheer force. I wasn't in the least bothered. After all, the first 5 strikes were merely probes. The real danger lay ahead. Thunder Mother, is this celestial lightning all there is? The Yellow River Dragon King casually dusted off the blackened smoke on him. Don't you know celestial lightning gets progressively stronger? The Thunder Mother retorted coldly. So what? You think I won't withstand it? The Yellow River Dragon King challenged, exuding confidence. The Thunder Mother ignored him as the second bolt of lightning began coalescing. As expected, the second through 5th strikes were of similar force to the first. Though they struck with relentless fury, they didn't manage to harm him. After the 5th lightning strike, though, the protective glow around the Yellow River Dragon King shattered with a resounding crack, thick smoke billowing around him. While his dragon scales still hadn't appeared, his confidence seemed to grow instead, his ambition ablaze. Come on, keep it coming. More. The 6th bolt of lightning started to gather, visibly thicker than the strikes before. My excitement began to stir. Boom! The 6th bolt came down fiercely, enveloping him once more. Smoke poured from his head, billowing like it was being vented from a chimney. As the lightning dissipated, the Yellow River Dragon King began to cough violently. His skin faintly gleamed with a golden light, his dragon scales starting to emerge, with red spots of injuries appearing on his arms. A flicker of joy sparked within me. Now we're finally getting somewhere. Though he frowned, his confidence didn't falter, and he still yelled, "Bring it on! Keep going!" Crack! The 7th bolt of lightning formed. This one was even thicker than the 6th, its power seemingly combining the force of the first 5 strikes. Boom! The lightning cleaved through the heavens, slamming down hard upon the Yellow River Dragon King. Rumble! The explosive energy formed a massive ball of lightning, as large as a dump truck, that completely enveloped the stone upon which he stood. The surrounding soil, scorched by the heat, glowed red as if it had been molten. It was blinding, so much so that I had to shield my eyes. As my vision adjusted, I saw the Yellow River Dragon King, who moments ago had been proudly standing tall, now wobbling before dropping to his knees. Panting heavily, black smoke curled off his dragon scales. Sweat poured down his forehead in torrents, any semblance of composure had been utterly stripped away, leaving only a disheveled wreck. The 7th bolt had proven too much for him to endure. My excitement surged as I prepared to intervene, my hand slipping into my pocket to grip the hilt of the Thunderfire bamboo sword. Slowly, I began to draw it. The Yellow River Dragon King coughed violently, leaning on the ground as he forced himself to stand. Barely on his feet, the 8th bolt of lightning began to assemble. The darkness glimmered as the 8th strike descended. The Yellow River Dragon King, soaked in sweat, let out a terrified cry as his scales shone golden. The lightning struck. It was as if a bomb had gone off. The ground below him blackened to ash, while a 10-meter-wide crater marred the Earth's surface. Thick smoke blanketed the scene. The low growl of the Yellow River Dragon King could be heard, his agony unmistakable. Though the light stung my eyes, I forced myself to watch. Amidst the lightning's fury, his fists clenched tight as his body trembled violently. Boom! The 8th bolt waned and disappeared. The Yellow River Dragon King collapsed to his knees, his dragon scales dull and cracked, over 10 pieces damaged beyond repair. His breathing was labored, his vigor drained from triumphant pride to utter fragility. Crack, crack. Above, the 9th and most fearsome bolt began to gather. The Thunder Mother showed him no mercy. Thunder Mother, you! The Yellow River Dragon King scrambled to his feet, quickly retrieving a handful of pills. These pills gleamed in vibrant colors, giving off a rich medicinal fragrance, clearly intent on restoring his vitality. Without hesitation, he swallowed them all. Gulp, gulp. His complexion shifted from pale to ruddy, and his dragon scales regained a faint luster. He steadied himself once more, feigning composure as he sneered at the Thunder Mother. Humph, bring it on then. Crack! The 9th bolt struck directly. Good. Bring it! The Yellow River Dragon King roared, spreading his arms as if embracing the incoming lightning. The strike roared downward like a missile, forming an even larger sphere of electric destruction, this one a full 10 meters in diameter, lighting up the heavens. The lightning's force shook the nearby trees, their tips disintegrating into ash instantly. Beside me, the 1,000-year-old fox demon quaked in terror, utterly shocked by the display. The Yangtze River Dragon Maiden remained calm, as though she could withstand a bolt of this magnitude herself. Boom! As the lightning crashed, a horrifying scene unfolded before us. The stone on which he stood glowed red-hot. The surrounding soil morphed into ceramic from the sheer heat. He knelt on the glowing rock, sheathed in white flame, a harrowing spectacle. Crack, crack. The dragon scales across his body began to fall apart. One after another, over 20 fragmented pieces clattered to the ground, some shattered into worthless remnants. Blood poured from the wounds on his neck, arms, and face, the flesh torn and bleeding profusely. The ninth strike had dealt him a devastating blow. I could feel the severe weakening of his aura, a tremor of vulnerability that no number of pills could mend. For the first time, fear gleamed in his eyes, the unmistakable fear of lightning itself. It's clear that the ninth bolt of lightning had left him utterly shaken, robbing him of his once lofty pride. In my heart, I silently cheered, "Lightning Mother, you're amazing." Gripping my bamboo sword charged with lightning, I could barely contain the urge to rush in. Crack! A 10th, much thicker bolt of lightning began gathering in the sky, which became as bright as midday in an instant. The terrifying power spread in every direction. The Yellow River Dragon King, now kneeling and panting, looked aghast. "Lightning Mother, wait. I'm not ready yet." His words had a cowardly undertone, a reluctant admission of defeat. One devastating lightning bolt after another was obliterating the final remnants of his pride. But the Lightning Mother showed no mercy. The 10th bolt struck without hesitation. It was at least 20% stronger than the 9th. The Yellow River Dragon King, in sheer panic, grit his teeth and pushed himself up, shouting in a mix of fear and disbelief, "Lightning Mother, why have my celestial lightning strikes become this strong? You don't have some personal grudge against me, do you?" Having endured the 9 bolts, he finally began to question the situation. I smirked, basking in the satisfaction of revenge. "This, right here, this is my gift to you on your so-called ascension. Don't you know that the strength of celestial lightning is directly related to the cultivation level of the one enduring it? Your Dao has surpassed 4,000 years, the lightning will only get stronger. If you can't survive these last 2 bolts, you're finished. I could cancel your celestial tribulation right here," the Lightning Mother declared coldly. The Dragon King's face darkened. Spooked by her words, he voiced no further doubts. "Humph. I've come this far. I will ascend to the heavens, no way am I giving up now." "You underestimate me," the Dragon King. Seeing the 10th bolt descending, he gritted his teeth and cast a spell to manifest a shield. The shield, initially no larger than his palm, glowed with complex, obscured runes. It swelled to the size of a small carriage and hovered above his crown, ready to intercept the lightning. The bolt thundered down. Asterisk boom. Asterisk. The lightning struck the shield, which absorbed about 20% of its immense power, dimming its intensity. But the shield couldn't withstand the force. It blazed brightly and shattered into 7 or 8 pieces. The remaining lightning force struck the Dragon King directly. "Ah!" His anguished roar echoed as his vital energy burned to fend off the attack, depleting him rapidly. Watching this unfold, I couldn't hold back anymore. Every cell in my body burned with anticipation. I needed to charge forward and finish him off. I was barely holding myself back. I had to remain patient. This was a rare, perhaps once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I had to seize the perfect moment. The Lightning Mother said his tribulation consisted of 12 bolts. I would wait until he endured the 11th, teetering on the brink of death, before making my move. I would shatter his immortal dream in the cruelest way possible. Nothing less would be a worthy revenge. Boom! The Dragon King, struck by the lightning, collapsed onto a blood-stained boulder. His body was covered in wounds, his dragon scales falling away, leaving him drenched in blood, a pitiful, broken image. Even the boulder beneath him was dyed crimson, like the aftermath of a deathmatch. These injuries were far worse than before, rendering his aura visibly weaker. I gripped my lightning-charged bamboo sword tightly, my blood boiling with anticipation. Just one more bolt. Then, I would strike. The Yellow River Dragon King coughed violently. Each cough sent fresh blood mixed with bits of tissue spilling from his mouth. He struggled, trying to stand, but his injuries were too severe. Every attempt forced him back down, defeated and trembling. Seeing him like this, I was reminded of the 18 torturous years I had survived at his hands, years of suffering, clinging desperately to life. My hatred for him burned hotter than ever. Just 2 more strikes. Just 2 more and I'll ascend to immortality, join the celestial ranks. The Dragon King staggered upright. With his mouth drenched in blood, every word he spoke caused even more blood to pour out. As he tried to steady himself, his legs gave out again, and he crashed onto the boulder. Good. Serves him right. My eyes gleamed, and my grip on my sword tightened further. The mighty Yellow River Dragon King, brought to this pitiful state. You can't even endure a few bolts of lightning? Pathetic. Laughable. I was stifling a laugh, almost ready to burst into maniacal laughter, and felt an overwhelming urge to rush over and mock him. I, Dragon Shiba, have endured insult after insult in these 18 years of misery, mocked, despised, beaten down countless times both in body and soul. I've tasted death many times over, but I always stood back up. But you? Now you've fallen before me. You, the Yellow River Dragon King, aren't even half the person I am anymore. Don't fool yourself, your downfall today is all part of my plan. Even the 1,000-year-old fox spirit at my side seemed more terrified, her expression shadowed by the grim sight of his ordeal. Clearly, the Dragon King's suffering struck fear into her. She would face a tribulation of her own one day. The Yangtze River Dragon Lady, meanwhile, remained calm, her gaze as tranquil as water. Crack! The 11th bolt began forming, coalescing in the sky. A monstrous, ferocious dragon of lightning roared, its brilliant light illuminating the heavens. The Yellow River Dragon King clenched his fists tightly, fighting with every ounce of remaining strength to stand. As he barely managed to steady himself, the 11th bolt cleaved through the heavens and came crashing down. Asterisk boom. Asterisk. A massive sphere of lightning, 1,000 meters wide, slammed into him. The destructive force scorched the earth as if signaling the end of the world. Deafening thunder rolled on for 10 long seconds as the lightning dissipated into ash. Barely containing my excitement, I looked eagerly at the aftermath. My heart raced uncontrollably, and a laugh burst from my throat. The Yellow River Dragon King lay motionless in a pool of his own blood, the ground beneath him soaked crimson. He trembled feebly, his haughty arrogance, invincibility, and confidence shattered to pieces by the 11th bolt. His energy was sapped. His injuries, critical. This was the so-called Yellow River Dragon King. The same dragon who had once sought to devour me without a flicker of remorse. But now, my plan was complete. He had fallen perfectly into my carefully laid trap. This exact moment was the one I had been waiting for. Every fiber of my being burned. Even the bamboo sword in my hand quivered in response. I took a deep breath, then turned to the Yangtze River Dragon Lady and the 1,000-year-old fox spirit. If any of his friends in the heavens try to intervene, distract them for me. I needed just a single minute. One moment to end his life. The fox spirit snapped back to her senses, nodding as she asked if I needed assistance. No, I shook my head. Well, give him an extra few stabs for me while you're at it, she replied. I nodded in agreement. The Yangtze River Dragon Lady said nothing but cast a fleeting glance toward the mysterious cave. I took a step forward, emerging from her cloaking formation. That step was careful yet brimming with pent-up excitement. The faint crackle of lightning energy lingered in the air, accompanied by residual snapping and popping sounds. I didn't care about any of it. I walked straight toward that blood-soaked boulder where the Yellow River Dragon King lay, my gaze fixed on him. At that moment, only one thought consumed my mind. Drive my lightning-charged bamboo sword straight through his heart and HEW off his dragon head. Standing over the blood-drenched stone, I saw him stirring feebly, still trying to inch his way up. Because he knew, just as I knew, if he could survive the last bolt, ascension and immortality were his for the taking. Here's the translated content while maintaining the original paragraph structure, spacing, and overall layout. Only one more strike left, and I'll ascend to immortality. Thunder Mother, you can't kill me. He laughed wildly with his mouth wide open. His whole body trembled, blood dripping from him, yet he stubbornly tilted his head back and roared with laughter at the heavens. The sky was filled with blinding flashes and rolling thunder. The 12th and final bolt of lightning was forming, but the Thunder Mother slowed her pace. She saw me. She began to turn a blind eye to events unfolding. Immortality? Not as long as I'm here. You'll never reach it. My deep voice echoed behind him. Each word thundered through the air like a roaring storm, shaking the Yellow River Dragon King, who was covered in blood. Struggling, he turned around to face me, shock carved across his face. His eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. He was stunned. How was I here? He was stunned. With what ambition had I appeared before him? He was even more stunned. I stood before him unharmed. Long Shiba. It's you. His voice was dark and heavy. That's right, it's me. We meet again. This is the second time we've crossed paths. Surprised? I didn't kill you at the last wedding, but you didn't expect me to show up again today, did you? I stepped toward him, anger boiling within me. And even more unexpected, I've come when you're at your weakest, most powerless, and most humiliated. I glared at him. The thunderstrike bamboo sword in my hand vibrated as if alive. The Yellow River Dragon King was furious and incredulous. How did you get here? Could it be? He diverted his rage to the Thunder Mother. Why was my immortal lightning so overwhelming earlier? Was it you? Were you working with Long Shiba to sabotage my ascension? Do you not fear being beheaded by the Jade Emperor? What nonsense are you spouting? You think someone like Long Shiba could manipulate me into risking my life to magnify your tribulation? Stop dreaming, Thunder Mother retorted with icy disdain. The Yellow River Dragon King, still in doubt, pressed further. Then why was my tribulation lightning heavier than it should have been? Why is he appearing at this exact moment? Are you truly saying you weren't conspiring with him? I've already explained the lightning. Why he appears here has nothing to do with me. If even you didn't notice something, how could I? Don't forget, I've never been one to meddle in others' affairs, Thunder Mother snapped back coldly. The Yellow River Dragon King burned with rage but found himself speechless. The 12th bolt is coming. Don't say I didn't warn you, Thunder Mother said nonchalantly. I understood this was her way of signaling me to act. The Yellow River Dragon King stared at the forming 12th bolt of lightning in the sky. His blood-red eyes brimmed with desperation and eagerness for his ascension. You're in such a rush? Fine, let me shatter your dreams instead. I continued to close the distance between us. Long Shiba, you're taking advantage of my vulnerability? The Yellow River Dragon King glared at me coldly. Standing in front of him, I replied, and if I am? Weren't you the one who took advantage of weakness first? 18 years ago, I was just an infant, and you wanted to devour me. All I'm doing now is collecting on your old debt. Why are you so rattled? An eye for an eye. You're done for. I raised the Thunderstrike bamboo sword and thrust it straight at his heart. The dragon's scales, all but obliterated by the prior 11 bolts of lightning, offered no protection. The sword, imbued with long-forged Taoist power, penetrated his defenses effortlessly. The Yellow River Dragon King's face twisted with shock. You dare to kill me? I'm your father. Ha! Father? That makes you all the more deserving of death. I laughed maniacally, the tip of the sword pressing firmly against his chest. Weakened, he had no strength to evade. Instead, he grasped the blade with bloodied hands, but the sword's edge sliced through his fingers cruelly. He was losing his grip. A sickening sound of bone scraping against the blade filled the air. He widened his bloodshot eyes as the blade inched closer to his heart. Leaning toward his ear, I smirked coldly. Don't forget, it was me who had the Thunder Mother intensify your tribulation. The Yellow River Dragon King's eyes flared with rage. I set the trap, and you walked right into it. Now, rest in peace, and never offend me, Long Shiba, again. I shoved the sword with all my might. With a sickening thunk, the blade pierced his chest. At that moment, I could feel his heart beating wildly beneath the blade. With the Thunderstrike bamboo sword driven through his heart, a surge of exhilaration coursed through me. I had finally killed him. But his blood-red eyes locked onto mine, brimming with eerie confidence. Do you think you can truly kill me? His assured tone unsettled me. How could he still exude such calm amidst his fatal wounds? Just then, the Thunder Mother's urgent voice echoed in my ears. Move. Now. I turned, catching a glimpse of a sharp aura hurtling toward me at lightning speed. That level of speed, it could only belong to a deity. It seemed that his celestial allies had decided to intervene. I debated whether to dodge. If I didn't, I'd certainly suffer serious injury. But if I moved, I risked losing this fleeting chance for good. My heart burned with resentment. Suddenly, the scent of an enchanting breeze brushed against me. A silhouette darted into view, intercepting the attack in a flash. It was the Yangtze Dragon Maiden. With a glance at me, she nodded subtly, signaling she'd protect me. The Yellow River Dragon King's eyes betrayed shock. Clearly, he had not expected the Yangtze Dragon Maiden, someone he knew, to side with me. Moments later, the Millennium Fox Demon also made her presence known. Both of them looked up at the sky, where the dense clouds parted to reveal a radiant golden glow. Its wielder had been the one to strike. This figure materializing from the glow wasn't their true form, it was only an avatar. After all, no deity would recklessly expose their true self at another's tribulation. The golden figure condensed quickly into human form. In a flash, it was before me, preparing to strike. This divine being even pointed directly at me, as if taunting me. Without hesitation, the Yangtze Dragon Maiden acted, stepping directly between me and the celestial figure. A burst of divine energy erupted from her, forcing the golden figure back with a booming explosion. Seizing the momentum, she leaped into the sky to launch an offensive against the figure. The Millennium Fox Demon wasn't far behind, her claws extending into fierce, sharp weapons, relentlessly slashing at the golden being, leaving it marked with countless gashes. 2-on-1, the ensuing battle was deafening chaos. I took this opportunity to drive my sword even deeper, but the Thunderstrike bamboo sword had become stuck. I couldn't move it. Why wasn't it budging? The Yellow River Dragon King's body was hardening, becoming unusually taut. I glanced back, only to see his aura surging and his wounded chest rapidly healing. From within the bloody flesh, lost dragon scales were inexplicably regrowing. A chilling realization struck me. The golden figure, when it pointed at me earlier, it had been injecting immortal energy into the Yellow River Dragon King. Shouting in anger, I redoubled my efforts to drive the sword further. The Thunderstrike bamboo sword let out a piercing hum. Crack! The Yellow River Dragon King's eyes bulged. I had pierced through a third of his heart, yet he said with a chilling calm, "It seems, you've grown stronger." He was no longer weak, his hands braced against my wrists. Boom! He shoved me violently. I staggered backward, nearly losing my balance, blood spurting from my mouth. His chest wound split further, blood pouring freely, yet he didn't falter. I gritted my teeth, charging back toward him. I couldn't let him recover. At this moment, the Dragon King of the Yellow River raised his head to gaze at the goddess of lightning above. "Lightning goddess, strike another divine lightning. What are you waiting for?" The lightning goddess hesitated briefly. After all, she had celestial friends here and couldn't openly help me. But within that split second of doubt, the 12th divine lightning crashed down with a thunderous roar. "What are you standing there for? Run! After he withstands this last lightning bolt, he'll have a 10-second window of opportunity." The lightning goddess's voice echoed in my ears. I nodded and quickly bolted, seizing the chance to absorb his celestial energy and enhance the powers of the Thunderstrike bamboo. The next moment, a deafening explosion tore through the sky. I turned back, only to be blinded by a searing white light rushing toward me like a detonating bomb. I was at ground zero. Gales howled, shockwaves hurled me over a dozen meters, and electric arcs lashed across my body. Pain surged, my limbs went numb, and I trembled uncontrollably. Before me stretched a sea of dazzling lightning, roaring incessantly. My eyes locked on him. Could he withstand this final strike? Suddenly, the sea of lightning collapsed, revealing the Dragon King of the Yellow River. He had forced apart the lightning, sending several errant bolts splitting off in random directions. One of the lightning bolts streaked toward the mysterious cave entrance. In a flash, it disappeared into the horizon. My face darkened. Something about that lightning wasn't right. There wasn't time to dwell on it, as I saw him standing firmly atop a blood-red rock. Though his body was drenched in blood, his wounds seemed to be healing at an incredible pace, almost as if he was being reborn. Could it be? Had he truly weathered the celestial tribulation? Was he about to ascend into godhood? My heart clenched, and I rushed toward him with all my might. The lightning goddess had said I had only 10 seconds. I couldn't let this chance slip away. But just as I was about to reach him, the lightning goddess's voice rang out again, tinged with puzzlement. "Wait." I stopped mid-step, noticing that while the Dragon King's injuries were nearly healed, there was no celestial aura surrounding him. What was going on? Even he wore an expression of confusion on his face. "This is strange," the lightning goddess remarked with surprise. "His name just vanished from my celestial ledger." Vanished? I instinctively turned to look. Logically, after withstanding 12 divine lightning strikes, he should have been surrounded by celestial brilliance. Instead, there was nothing. His luminous life destiny palace had gone dim in an instant, as if someone had switched off its light, leaving only darkness. Could this be a harbinger of an impending calamity? Wasn't he supposed to ascend? Questions churned in my mind, but there was no time to contemplate. My only thought was to strike him down immediately. "Run!" A voice suddenly rang out. It was a celestial ally of the Dragon King, and even the Long River Dragoness and the 1,000-year Fox Demon, who had been locked in combat with him moments ago, abruptly paused. In his tone was an undercurrent of surprise. Clearly, they too had realized that something was wrong with the Dragon King of the Yellow River. "What's going on?" the Dragon King asked in astonishment, his confusion palpable. "I made it through the tribulation. Why do I have no celestial aura?" "I don't know, but something feels wrong," the golden figure replied, shaking his head. "Wait, over there." He suddenly turned to look in a particular direction. The rest of us, the Dragon King, the Long River Dragoness, the 1,000-year Fox Demon, and I followed his gaze. Even the lightning goddess appeared in the sky. That direction, it was the mysterious cave entrance. I froze, recalling that when the Dragon King endured the 12th divine lightning, some of the energy had diverted. One bolt had struck that very cave entrance. Could it be that his resistance had unintentionally damaged the cave's formation? If that formation was broken, the consequences would be catastrophic. Ha ha ha! I suddenly burst into laughter. My hysterical laughter drew the attention of the Dragon King and the Long River Dragoness. The 1,000-year Fox Demon tilted her head, puzzled. "What are you laughing about?" asked the Dragon King of the Yellow River. "I'm laughing because your suffering was in vain. You went through 12 lightning strikes for nothing. I'm laughing because you got excited for no reason. And the funniest thing of all? Tragedy is about to strike you. Ha ha ha. The Dragon King frowned, and vigilance flickered in the Long River Dragoness's eyes. The lightning goddess couldn't help but ask, "Child, what are you saying? What exactly happened?" When he was enduring the tribulation, he caused trouble. One lightning bolt broke the mysterious cave's formation. Now that it's been damaged, the resulting carnage will be unimaginable. That's why his celestial record was erased. He will never ascend. The tribulation has shifted into disaster. He suffered 12 lightning strikes for nothing. Isn't that hilarious? Ha ha ha. To see you humiliated this way, it made the whole trip worth it. I sneered. Yet internally, I was filled with doubt. When the Long River Dragoness and I faced our great calamity, the Jade Emperor sentenced us to execution, thinking it was just about us. But now, it seemed this catastrophe concerned all dragons. The Dragon King of the Yellow River was a dragon too. Could he escape his fate? Perhaps Jiang Jiuxuan was right when he claimed that our dragon clan had committed offenses against the Jade Emperor. If that was true, then the Jade Emperor's decree of execution would soon come to pass. The Dragon King furrowed his brows, his expression becoming increasingly grim. The Long River Dragoness's gaze turned sharper, while the 1,000-year fox demon was wide-eyed in astonishment. She clearly hadn't foreseen this sudden twist. Even the lightning goddess was stunned mid-air. "He's right. You've made a grave mistake. Hurry and leave." The golden figure urged the Dragon King again, clearly convinced that a serious misstep had occurred. The Dragon King's face darkened further as he cast his gaze toward the mysterious cave. In the distance, ominous black mist was already beginning to spread with alarming speed. An overwhelming sense of dread filled the air. I immediately tensed. No wonder I'd felt a constant unease earlier. Now it was a full-blown terror. The black mist surged forward like a tsunami, blotting out the heavens. The situation was dire. The Long River Dragoness and the 1,000-year fox demon darted toward me, and the three of us turned our guarded eyes to the oncoming tide of darkness. "Damn it, the formation's definitely broken," the golden figure exclaimed, his tone sharp, before turning to the Dragon King. "Find somewhere to hide. The Jade Emperor's decree is imminent." With that, he prepared to take his leave. "Wait," the Dragon King called out. "Something's wrong. There's no way this just happened. Someone must have sabotaged me. I don't know, but don't drag me into it." The golden figure kept his distance, clearly unwilling to get involved, and the Dragon King's face hardened even more. As he moved to leave, he addressed the lightning goddess. "You're not going to investigate what's happening over there?" "Celestial law forbids us. We cannot intervene in mortal matters," the lightning goddess replied. "But that situation isn't limited to the mortal world," the golden figure said cryptically. What did that mean? Before anyone could press further, the golden figure vanished. The lightning goddess stared after him, urgency in her voice. 18 dragons, take the dragoness and the others, leave quickly." Her reaction made it clear that something catastrophic was unfolding at the mysterious cave. But my gaze remained fixed on the Dragon King. He had failed to ascend, his injuries weren't fully healed. This meant I still had a chance to kill him. By now, the black mist had fully encircled us, exuding a suffocatingly sinister energy. My spine ran cold. The golden figure was about to leave when a massive iron hand condensed from the black mist and reached out to grab him. The golden figure sneered, "Have you gone mad from captivity? You dare lay hands on me?" With that, he didn't counterattack but transformed into golden light, attempting to merge into the clouds, clearly unwilling to get involved in this mess. But the massive hand tore through the clouds, grabbing a cluster of mist that contained a shimmering golden aura. "You dare lay hands on a celestial like me? How bold," the golden voice roared. Boom! The large hand crushed the cloud cluster. The golden aura within let out a shriek before shattering into pieces, scattering like a violent gale. Was that truly a fragment of a celestial spirit obliterated just like that? Even Dianmu froze in disbelief. I, the Yangtze River Dragon Maiden, and the 1,000-year fox demon were equally stunned. The Yellow River Dragon King also stood there, paralyzed. My heart pounded furiously, and I felt a chilling fear coursing through me. No wonder Dianmu had been urging us to leave quickly. Now it seemed running might not be an option anymore. Rumble! The air crackled violently with friction. Having just destroyed a celestial's essence, the black hand did not cease. It stretched further, this time aiming to crush the Yellow River Dragon King perched on the rock. Its murderous intent was palpable, as if determined to crush the Dragon King into dust. His face turned pale. He had assumed that upon ascending to celestial status, his tribulation wounds would fully heal. But now this unexpected threat had shattered his hopes of ascension and left his injuries beyond recovery. In his current state, he could only dodge in desperation, with no strength to face this head-on. Just as he narrowly avoided the massive hand, a deafening crash erupted. The bloodstained rock he had been standing on exploded into rubble under the Black Hand's impact. The fragments shot out like missiles, snapping thick tree trunks in the process, forcing us to dodge in panic. While the Dragon King tried to stabilize himself midair, the Black Hand gave relentless pursuit, its open palm spreading like a massive net. His expression darkened as he dodged repeatedly. The Black Hand moved at lightning speed. After evading 3 swipes, the Dragon King was grazed by the hand's fingertip on the 4th attempt. The impact was brutal. The blow sent the Dragon King flying, and he almost stumbled to the ground. Barely managing to steady himself, the Black Hand lunged toward him with the ferocity of a freight train. Alarmed, the Dragon King had no choice but to wield his own powers. He stretched one hand into the air, summoning spiritual energy to form an immense golden hand. He aimed the golden hand directly at the black one. Boom! The collision echoed like thunder, and for a brief moment, the 2 hands seemed evenly matched. But I could discern something. The instant their powers collided, color returned to the Dragon King's face, bright with strain, lips tightly pursed, a clear indication that his internal injuries were far from healed. He was no match at all. Oddly, I felt a twinge of satisfaction seeing this, yet my thoughts quickly turned contemplative. When the dragon team previously faced that invisible creature, the Yangtze River Dragon Maiden easily obliterated it. Yet now, this Black Hand had appeared and effortlessly annihilated a celestial. Could it have something to do with the entity's core being present here? This catastrophic presence had put the Yellow River Dragon King in extreme peril. Was the released force from the broken seal responsible for this? I recalled the Yangtze River Dragon Maiden once mentioning that over 2,000 people had entered the mysterious cave, only to meet their demise. Whatever could destroy a celestial spirit like this was more than capable of slaying 2,000 humans. I told you to leave. Dianmu's urgent voice snapped me back. Looking upward, I couldn't help but ask her, what in the world is that thing? Why is it so powerful? Dianmu hesitated before responding, I cannot meddle in the affairs of the mortal realm. If you don't leave now, it'll be too late. Dark fog continued spreading around us, turning day into night in mere moments. The eerie atmosphere made my skin crawl. I started to connect the dots with what the Golden Shadow had said earlier. They'd implied this wasn't solely a mortal matter and might actually involve the heavens. Before the golden figure was crushed, there seemed to be recognition when it saw the Black Hand. I speculated aloud, Dianmu, is the entity locked inside the mysterious cave connected to the heavens? The Yangtze River Dragon Maiden and the 1,000-year Fox Demon both turned their gazes toward Dianmu. No, Dianmu replied, shaking her head. I froze. Not a celestial? Then how could it be so formidable? The Yangtze River Dragon Maiden's expression flickered as though piecing something together. Could it be an immortal exile from the heavens? Her comment instantly clicked in my mind. Being exiled would mean one's celestial status had been stripped away, rendering them no longer a celestial. So when I asked Dianmu earlier whether the entity was a celestial, her denial now made sense. Dianmu gave the Dragon Maiden a single glance before saying, stop asking questions. Mortal matters are outside my jurisdiction. The Yangtze River Dragon Maiden chose not to press further. But I couldn't resist asking once more, Dianmu, do you also think? Good heavens, child. Must you dig into every little detail? You're giving me a headache. Dianmu exclaimed before reluctantly continuing, yes, the Dragon Maiden is correct. This individual was indeed a deity who was exiled from the heavens. No wonder the golden figure had resisted so fiercely before being crushed. I pressed on, which deity are we talking about? Curiosity also lit up the faces of the Yangtze River Dragon Maiden and the 1,000-year Fox Demon as they looked toward Dianmu. Frowning, Dianmu replied, I don't know. My celestial status is too low for me to step foot in the Hall of Heavenly Kings. But I can say this much, it's a woman. My attention instinctively returned to the Black Hand and its slender, almost elegant fingers, traits that fit a woman. Dianmu confirmed, not long after her exile, a murderous name began making waves across the mortal world, Jiuxuan Demon Empress. That's her. Jiuxuan Demon Empress? I had never heard the name before. Even the Yangtze River Dragon Maiden looked perplexed, likely because she had been in seclusion when all of this occurred. The 1,000-year Fox Demon's expression turned complicated, and she murmured, the cave imprisoned her? We must leave at once. The Yangtze River Dragon Maiden asked, you know her? The Fox Demon explained, when she first appeared, she slaughtered an entire city to forge her artifacts. Her methods were utterly ruthless. Within mere months, she mysteriously vanished. I was curious about where she had gone, and now I understand she was sealed within that cave. Suddenly, it all came together in my mind. Zhang Baisui had stumbled upon an earth-shattering secret near the cave all those years ago, which compelled him to lock it with an intricate formation. But outsiders, ignorant of the situation, had paid the ultimate price when they recklessly stormed the cave. Thousands of lives lost, all likely sacrificed to her artifact-making rituals. A demon as so cold-blooded, I realized, was why I couldn't shake that creeping dread. And as for the Yellow River Dragon King, losing his celestial status and releasing this demon was a crime beyond words. This demon empress was utterly ruthless. The three of us had no choice but to flee. But surrounded by this oppressive black mist, how were we supposed to escape? Dian Mu sighed. Fine. I'll take you out of here. Otherwise, once Jiuxuan Demon Empress emerges, none of us, your mortals or myself, will have any chance of surviving. Before her words fully landed, a resounding boom echoed across the air. Our heads instinctively turned toward the source, only to see the Yellow River Dragon King slammed into the ground, coughing up blood in agony. The golden energy hand he had summoned was utterly destroyed, while the black hand remained unscathed, shattering downward once more onto him. The Yellow River Dragon King's face paled even further as he dodged in desperation. Boom! The black hand struck the ground, sending tremors rippling outward while its shockwave sent the Dragon King flying several meters yet again. Blood dripped in streams from his mouth as his voice thundered with fury. Enough! You've already stripped me of celestial status, subjected me to the Jade Emperor's punishment, and now you intend to finish me off entirely? Fine. If you think this dragon is weak, I'll show you otherwise. Here is the translated content with the original structure, paragraph breaks, and overall layout maintained. He let out a low growl, which erupted into a deafening dragon's roar. Golden light exploded from within his body. The golden light rapidly expanded, enveloping his entire body, layering itself repeatedly, and soon towering 3 or 4 stories high. Through the glow, a massive, twisting silhouette could be vaguely seen, with the first thing to emerge from the top being a pair of golden antlers. Following it came a massive serpent-like head as large as the front of a truck, crowned with pale golden antlers. Its whiskers dangled like fingers, swaying gently under its mouth, while its eyes gleamed with an icy brilliance. As the dragon's head twisted, it revealed a golden serpentine body, as thick as a water barrel, soaring rapidly upward and stirring the air into a raging storm. The snake-like body had 4 limbs beneath it, each with 5 razor-sharp claws. This was a 5-clawed golden dragon. Suddenly, an immense sense of pressure filled the air. In this urgent moment, the Yellow River Dragon King decisively revealed his true divine form. I was completely taken aback. Was this the body of a divine dragon? Its imposing presence was unparalleled, shaking the very depths of the soul. Seeing the true form of a divine dragon for the very first time, the thin trace of dragon's blood within me began to stir. A surge of determination arose. Someday, I too must possess such a form. I couldn't help but wonder, if the Yangtze River Dragoness were to reveal her true form, what would it look like? Roar! The dragon's roar was earth-shattering. The Yellow River Dragon King's massive form twisted, stirring the air within a 10-mile radius violently, and shot directly toward the black hand. The storm raged on as the wind howled and shook the trees fiercely. Let's see if you can withstand a strike from a divine dragon, the Yellow River Dragon King growled coldly, spreading his front limbs wide as he slashed viciously at the black hand. 10 dazzling claws collided with the black hand. What happened next was beyond shocking. The sharp claw lights had the power to slice mountains and crush boulders. The black hand trembled violently, shattering into pieces as black energy dissolved into the void. In the sky, aside from more black energy, only the massive figure of the Yellow River Dragon King remained. Seems like you're not much after all, he sneered. Something's wrong, muttered the Yangtze River Dragoness. Indeed, within the writhing black energy, 2 black hands reformed, larger and tougher than before. One grabbed the dragon's head while the other wrapped around its body. From a distance, it looked like an eagle clutching a rooster, like an adult playing with a child. Barely 10 seconds after revealing his true form, the Yellow River Dragon King was subdued so effortlessly. The Yellow River Dragon King roared in shock and anger, struggling and writhing. Suddenly, he whipped his tail, smashing at the black hand gripping his head, causing it to break apart. Taking advantage of the moment, he shattered the black hand around his body as well. Just as he was about to escape, a thunderous boom rang out as his massive body trembled and crashed heavily to the ground. The black energy reformed into an enormous hand that pounded against his dragon head. Boom! The impact sent the Yellow River Dragon King plummeting to the ground, causing a tremor that shook the earth. Dust and debris flew into the air, forming a deep pit where the Yellow River Dragon King lay in disarray. Blood spurted from his huge dragon mouth. He shook his head, evidently dazed from the heavy blow. Roar! The Yellow River Dragon King roared in fury, planting his 4 powerful limbs to lift his immense body, attempting to soar back into the air only to have a gigantic black hand slam him back down, like a mountain pressing him under its weight. Boom! The Yellow River Dragon King's expression changed dramatically. Unable to dodge, he was forced to take the hit. The first punch struck, driving his body deeper into an already deepening pit in the ground. Immediately, the second punch came down hard. The Yellow River Dragon King spat blood but continued to struggle to break free. However, the black hand left no room for escape. The third punch followed closely behind. His massive body trembled, yet he persisted, holding on by sheer force. But, when the fourth, fifth, and sixth punches landed in unrelenting succession, the Yellow River Dragon King could no longer hold on. The light in his eyes dimmed as his massive body went limp, and his gigantic dragon head fell heavily to the ground, kicking up a cloud of dust. Blood gushed endlessly from his mouth. It just wasn't his day. After enduring 12 bolts of celestial lightning and sustaining severe injuries, he now found himself facing a formidable god-demon. To have held out this long was a testament to his incredible power. Boom! The seventh punch struck brutally, shaking the earth violently. The Yellow River Dragon King's colossal head was driven deep into the solid ground, leaving his fate uncertain. My heart tightened. Could he be dead? If he were dead, it would be a pity, but it would be better than having him die by my own hand. If he wasn't dead, then his luck was truly remarkable. But there wasn't time to ponder this, we needed to leave immediately. With the Yellow River Dragon King's life hanging in the balance, the next target of such an assault could very well be us. At this moment, the Thunder Goddess descended to carry us away. The black energy swirled again, forming 4 black hands. One of them reached for the Thunder Goddess. She sneered coldly as a surge of powerful lightning erupted from her, crackling and popping, instantly reducing the black hand to tatters. However, she was momentarily delayed. The remaining 3 black hands lunged at me, the Yangtze River Dragoness, and the Millennial Fox Spirit, their ferocious power intent on crushing us. The Millennial Fox was visibly shaken. I called out sharply, "Senior, we need to split up." "No way," she instinctively refused. "Hurry, go." I swung the Thunderstrike bamboo sword, releasing sword energy over 10 feet long, slicing sharply toward the black hands. Boom! The sword energy severed 2 thick fingers, but the black hand continued to come at me with unrelenting force. I had no choice but to keep swinging the sword to fend it off. This was no sustainable solution. The black energy blocked out the sky, and all of it could be controlled by the 9 Abyss Demon Lord. Cutting off one hand would only lead to the creation of countless more, a vicious cycle. Our only option was to flee with all our might. The Millennial Fox Spirit cast her fox magic, dispersing one black hand, yet she, too, recognized the dire situation. Still, she didn't intend to flee on her own and stayed close by me and the Yangtze River Dragoness. The Yangtze River Dragoness was uninjured and managed the black hands with ease. We retreated while fighting. At this moment, the Thunderstrike bamboo sword sent me a message, "Sir, what about the celestial energy?" I felt a pang of frustration. I had originally planned to steal some celestial energy for the bamboo sword when the Yellow River Dragon King ascended to immortality, to aid in hunting gods. But everything had gone sideways. The Yellow River Dragon King's incident had prevented him from achieving immortality. Now without celestial energy, I couldn't immediately grasp the bamboo sword's meaning. I asked it, and it responded, "I sense a bit of celestial energy far off over there." My face fell as I smacked my forehead. Of course. There was a mysterious cave where an immortal, demoted to the mortal realm, was imprisoned. Surely that cave would have traces of celestial energy. But the 9 Abyss Demon Lord hadn't even fully revealed himself, and he was already this overwhelming. Truly entering that cave would likely mean certain death. It was far too dangerous. After much hesitation, I decided to retreat for now. If I were to venture inside, I'd need to prepare thoroughly. At that moment, the Millennial Fox Spirit transformed into a massive 9-tailed fox, each of her 9 swaying tails exuding a delicate allure, and her slender limbs radiated a strange grace. Even in such danger, she had revealed her true form. "Dragon 18, get on my back," she called. Just as I widened my eyes in shock, black energy surged in front of her. In an instant, she vanished completely, as though swallowed by the darkness. I was startled and yelled, "Senior!" But there was no response. The scene before me was terrifyingly eerie. A living, shape-shifting 9-tailed fox just vanished out of nowhere? Could the black mist actually influence people? Maybe it's some kind of massive formation? "This black mist is strange," the Yangtze River Dragon Maiden said. I warily scanned the surroundings. Unable to find the 1,000-year-old fox spirit, I could only shout into the void, "Elder, don't worry about us, let's split up and go our separate ways." Separating was the only way to survive. Still no response from the fox spirit. I could only pray for its safety. Suddenly, a muffled rumble came from the sky. The dragon maiden and I witnessed large hands attacking the thunder goddess. Her lightning-formed body was being squeezed to its limit. Dragon 18, take the dragon maiden and leave. The thunder goddess unleashed a bolt of lightning, slicing through the darkness like a guiding beacon toward us. Before I could react, the dragon maiden grabbed me and bolted skyward, chasing after the bolt of lightning. I glanced back and saw the thunder goddess's body explode into countless arcs of electricity. Fortunately, they didn't dissipate entirely. Instead, they rapidly merged with the clouds. I breathed a sigh of relief. The thunder goddess couldn't intervene directly in the mortal realm, so that was her only way to retreat. The dragon maiden was incredibly fast, though several black, misty hands lunged at us. With deft movements, she evaded them and successfully carried me away. In the distance, a faint light shone, while the lightning ahead dissipated in another explosion. Just as we burst free from the suffocating mist's grasp, a powerful suction tried to drag us back. Thankfully, the dragon maiden clapped her hands together, shattering the pull in an instant. We were finally free. As soon as we landed, barely catching our breath, golden talismans began flying toward us from all directions. Hundreds of them lined up in an orderly fashion, each serving a specific purpose, adhering tightly around the perimeter of the black mist. Then, four incantations echoed, and the talismans lit up, connecting to form a radiant barrier. The black mist was forcibly contained. However, I could tell this solution was only temporary. At most it could hold for a few days. The dragon maiden and I exchanged uneasy glances, then noticed four individuals approaching from four different directions. 2 men and 2 women, all wearing expressionless faces. One of them even had a single eye, exuding a menacing, ruthless aura. They were clearly all experts, especially the one-eyed man, whose dark and chilling presence sent shivers down my spine. Yet, their faces donned a facade of friendliness, a pretense that screamed hypocrisy. "Why is this formation breaking down so much?" one of them muttered. "How peculiar." "Indeed. We need to find Jiang Baisui's reincarnation quickly, or this cave will drag us down too." Hearing this, my heart skipped a beat. Were they here looking for Jiang Baisui's reincarnation? The Feng Shui Alliance? Or perhaps the Ghost Sect or Blood Shadow Sect? Judging by their air of authority, they must be heads of some prominent faction. But their life palaces carried traces of darkness, a dangerous omen that could turn into death energy at any moment. Clearly, when their ancestors broke the formation back then, they invoked karmic backlash, which was now inherited through generations. This was most likely why they were desperate to repair the formation. If they didn't, calamity would soon befall them. Hiding behind a large tree with the dragon maiden, we silently observed. The sudden thunderclap just now was someone undergoing a tribulation, accidentally breaking the formation, one of the women asked, puzzled. "Possibly. Humph. Who would dare undergo a tribulation here?" another retorted angrily. Their expressions turned sour, as though they wanted to take out their anger on the Yellow River Dragon King, though I doubted they'd dare. Never mind that for now. Finding Jiang Baisui's reincarnation is the most important thing. This talisman array will only last 3 days at most. That Jiang Baisui was truly selfish, such a despicable man. After breaking the formation, only he had the ability to fix it, no one else could. When we find his reincarnation, we'll make sure he suffers eternal damnation. Their eyes glinted with malice. The dragon maiden's gaze turned icy. I stared coldly at them too. These hypocrites were digging their own graves. If Jiang Baisui's reincarnation knew they'd betray him once he helped, he'd surely strike back. I made up my mind. I'd take care of them myself. The lightning-struck bamboo had mentioned immortal energy at the cave entrance. High above, celestial immortals could descend at any moment to sever my life with a slash of their sword. This invisible blade hanging over me urged immediate action. I needed to infuse the lightning-struck bamboo with immortal energy, or I'd never stand a chance against those celestial beings. If these people were so intent on repairing the formation, I'd ensure they didn't succeed. I planned to use them as bait to draw the attention of the Nine-Void Demon Lord, then seize the opportunity to claim the immortal energy for myself. You think you can harm Jiang Baisui's reincarnation? I'll sabotage your plans first. I softly shared the plan with the dragon maiden, who nodded in agreement. These people deserve to die. Who's lurking over there? Come out, the one-eyed man barked coldly. The other 3 immediately became vigilant. The dragon maiden and I exchanged looks of surprise. That one-eyed man had discovered us? If that was the case, there was no sense in hiding anymore. We stepped out into the open, and the 4 immediately locked eyes on us. The moment they saw the dragon maiden, their expressions shifted. They clearly didn't recognize her true form and became even more wary. I spoke up loudly. Don't misunderstand, we're here to help you. If you're looking for Jiang Baisui's reincarnation, why not let me assist you? Of course, helping was just a pretense. My real purpose was to use them as bait and steal the immortal energy. Who do you think you are? Do you think you're qualified to help us? One middle-aged man sneered. After searching for the reincarnation for so many years, you think someone like you can just insert yourself? Take a good look at yourself in a mirror first, the two women chimed in, their faces full of ridicule. Rage boiled within me, though I kept my composure. Fine, I'll let you have your fun for now. But later, I'll collect your lives. Oh? If your methods were so effective, why haven't you succeeded yet? I shot back. The three were instantly furious. The one-eyed man stepped forward, staring me down coldly. And why are you here? Did you cause the thunder tribulation just now? What if I did? And what if I didn't? The dragon maiden replied calmly in my place. The one-eyed man frowned and asked warily, You're quite bold. Who are you? The other three turned their attention to the dragon maiden. You don't recognize me? Didn't you invite me once? She smirked as she questioned him. What invitation? When, he replied, frowning, his expression rife with suspicion. The other three appeared confused, they didn't recognize her. The dragon maiden waved a hand. A burst of wind swept toward the one-eyed man. He scoffed coldly and raised his palm to block, but the unexpected force of the wind caused him to stagger back several meters. His palm was red, his face shocked. The other three were equally astonished, the difference in strength was unmistakable. The one-eyed man stared at the dragon maiden, his gaze flickering before suddenly widening in shock. Are you the yanked sea? The other three were even more stunned. The two women's eyes glinted with envy, their thoughts clear, her presence, even without revealing her true form, completely overshadowed them. How could they not feel inferior? The dragon maiden's voice turned cold. What does the tribulation have to do with him? Tell me, what are you planning to do? The one-eyed man's expression immediately shifted into a fawning grin. Misunderstanding, it was all a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? Her gaze turned sharp. The one-eyed dragon's face twitched as he sheepishly said to me, I was too impulsive earlier, please forgive me. I shrugged. The icy look in the Yangtze River dragon maiden's eyes finally began to dissipate. Wasn't she supposed to be dead? A woman whispered. It seemed they all knew of the Yangtze River dragon maiden's ordeal. The one-eyed dragon shot her a warning glance, and the woman fell silent. To them, the dragon maiden's fate was trivial, she was only valuable as long as she was useful. Since we've encountered the Dragon King, have you agreed to our previous request? One-eyed dragon asked nervously. The Yangtze River dragon maiden glanced at me. First, tell us your plan. How are you planning to locate Jiang Baisui's reincarnation? The one-eyed dragon nodded earnestly. Recently, we captured the aura from the formation near the mysterious cave entrance and set up a shrine. Using a Taoist soul tracking technique, we're planning to locate him. Jiang Baisui has been dead for decades and has likely reincarnated multiple times. This method makes finding him extremely difficult. We tried several times before but failed to pick up his trail. After some thought, we figured the shrine's power wasn't enough. So, we wanted more people to cast the spell together, which would increase the chances. That's why we invited you, Dragon King, to lend your strength. The one-eyed dragon spoke with reverence. The three others also looked at the dragon maiden respectfully. I understood now. They were using the shrine to summon and locate someone, a form of spirit calling. However, with so many reincarnations, the success rate could only be about 50%. That said, I already had a plan. He just mentioned tracking Jiang Baisui through aura? Well, I happen to have the formation book Jiang Baisui left behind. That book carries his essence. I glanced at the dragon maiden and leaned in close to whisper in her ear. First, ask them where the shrine is. And then? You forgot I have his formation book? Later, when they perform the spell at the shrine, transfer the ability to me. I'll become Jiang Baisui's reincarnation and use that identity to deceive them into letting me in. I continued with a cold smirk. Honestly, these people deserved whatever fate awaited them. We'll force their sect to fall apart with no leader. The Yangtze River dragon maiden hesitated. Where is your shrine? She asked. The one-eyed dragon lit up and pointed into the distance. It's over there. With your help casting the spell, finding Jiang Baisui's reincarnation will be a breeze. Exactly. We just need someone of high cultivation to anchor the ritual. With your assistance, we're halfway to success already. The others chimed in eagerly. Lead the way, said the dragon maiden. The one-eyed dragon sighed with relief, and the other three grinned. The four strode ahead in high spirits while the dragon maiden and I lagged slightly behind. I whispered to her, once inside, stay with me. All right. Then, if the opportunity arises, we'll take down 9 Yuan Demon Lord together. Why? The Dragon Maiden seemed taken aback. For you. For me? To give you some credit for good deeds, a way to atone. Maybe the Jade Emperor will spare you from being executed, I replied. To be fair, I didn't want her to end up dismembered, losing thousands of years of cultivation just like that. It was too tragic. If I could help her, I would. She gazed at me with a soft expression before shaking her head. I've come to terms with it. Live or die, it's all the same. But you're too young, I don't want you to die. That's why I'd want to eliminate 9 Yuan Demon Lord, for your sake, to atone for your own karma. How did this suddenly become my issue? I sighed helplessly. Dragon Maiden, I'm trying to help you, not the other way around. Would you really risk a life or death battle with the 9 Yuan Demon Lord? It's too dangerous. Let's keep moving, she said, changing the subject. She motioned for us to catch up. The one-eyed dragon and his group had paused ahead, looking puzzled. Reluctantly, I nodded, and we followed. The shrine wasn't far. After trekking through the woodlands for 2 hours, we came across an old, dilapidated thatched hut deep in the forest. The hut looked ancient and neglected, likely an inheritance from their ancestors. Outside the hut, a bizarre and massive shrine had been erected. On a wide stone altar, offerings were arranged, thick red candles and gold paper incense burners. The candles emitted a sinister, reddish glow, suggesting they weren't ordinary wax but required spiritual energy to ignite. 9 of them were arranged in a circle. At the center of the circle, the most striking feature was a crystal ball, roughly the size of a human head. Its surface was smooth and engraved with runes, marking it as an uncommon magical tool. I guessed it was intended to reveal Jiang Jiuxuan's reincarnation. Scattered around the altar were spent talismans, evidence they had attempted the ritual before but failed to pinpoint the individual. This is the shrine for locating Jiang Jiuxuan's reincarnation, the one-eyed dragon explained. The Yangtze River Dragon Maiden approached to inspect, and I naturally followed. Actually, the more participants, the better. Initially, I planned to mobilize a third of the living world to assist in the casting. But with you here, Dragon King, we won't need anyone else. Lighting these 9 spirit candles requires 9 seasoned practitioners. Only then can the crystal ball activate and reveal him. Please be patient, the remaining 4 practitioners are on their way. The one-eyed dragon stepped back after his explanation. So 9 individuals must work together for the spell? The Dragon Maiden nodded without objection. I quietly asked her if there would be any issues. She nodded, and I exhaled in relief. This worked perfectly. Having more participants would provide bait to lure in the 9 Yuan Demon Lord. It worked to my advantage. The one-eyed dragon then turned to me. You mentioned earlier that you could help locate Jiang Jiuxuan's reincarnation. What's your method? The other 3 seemed disinterested, not even sparing me a glance. I answered, the shrine itself is more than sufficient. There's no need for my input. The one-eyed dragon gave a polite smile. Young people these days are so modest. Soon, you'll witness the reincarnation with your own eyes, an experience not to be missed. Oh? I'm curious to see who this person turns out to be. I replied nonchalantly. The one-eyed dragon didn't press further. He returned to his companions, who began whispering among themselves, occasionally glancing in my direction with looks of anticipation. Everyone seemed eager to encounter Jiang Jiuxuan's reincarnation. Time passed as we waited. The dark energy in the distance no longer spread further, and I began worrying about the Millennium Fox Demon. Had she managed to escape? At that moment, the one-eyed dragon's face lit up with excitement. He approached briskly and said, Dragon King, the other 4 practitioners are almost here. We're about to begin the ritual. The Dragon Maiden and I looked toward the horizon. Minutes ticked by, but the expected 4 figures never appeared. I immediately closed off my senses, searching for any sign of them, but found nothing. What was going on? Did the one-eyed dragon make a mistake in his detection? The Dragon Maiden narrowed her eyes. Where are the people you were talking about? The one-eyed dragon suddenly looked uneasy, his expression darkening. This doesn't make sense. I clearly sensed them. Go check it out quickly, he urged urgently. The 2 immediately ran off. After more than 10 minutes, only one of the 2 returned. I immediately noticed something was off. The Cyclops frowned. What happened? Why is it just you? Where's Jiang Dong? The woman approached the Cyclops and whispered a few words. His face changed drastically as he listened. Really? The woman signaled with her eyes. The Cyclops lowered his voice. Another person leaned in, and the 3 began murmuring amongst themselves. If it were someone else nearby, they'd likely be curious about what they were discussing. But judging by the woman's expression upon returning, I instantly understood something was wrong. Dragon Lady of the Yangtze River asked, "What happened?" "Relax, they'll all be back soon," I said casually. "I meant, what's the matter?" She probed curiously. I explained, "The Cyclops said the 4 individuals from earlier showed up, but they haven't come here directly. On their way, they encountered something that drew their attention. So, 2 people went over, and 1 returned ahead to report the situation." "What did they find?" The Dragon Lady's eyes lit up. "Judging by the woman's demeanor, it must be a magical artifact," I ventured. "A magical artifact?" She reacted with some surprise. "Precisely an artifact that could capture the interest of all 4, no, all 8 of them," I added. At that moment, the Cyclops approached us. "Dragon King, there's been some trouble on their end. I'll go find them and return shortly." The Dragon Lady of the Yangtze didn't say much. The Cyclops quickly left with his crew. "What kind of artifact could it be?" she asked, still intrigued. "We don't know yet. But the presence of such an artifact in the vicinity likely has some connection to that mysterious cave," I said with concern. I calculated quickly. "Something's not adding up, there's an 11th person here. We had 10 people total, they're 8, plus me and the Dragon Lady, so where did the extra 1 come from?" "Be careful, things might be shifting unexpectedly," I warned. The Dragon Lady nodded solemnly. Half an hour later, the Cyclops and his team hurried back, now accompanied by 4 strangers. The entire group of 8 looked pale, yet there was unmistakable excitement on their faces. No doubt, they had acquired something valuable. As I closely observed them, an uneasiness crept over me. This wasn't good, trouble was brewing. They'd secured not just any magical artifact, but one that seemed to enlighten them. Their expressions subtly revealed newfound understanding. Clearly, it was tied to the formations in the mysterious cave. This left me full of doubt. Was this a coincidence? Or had someone deliberately planted it there? Could it be a trap laid by the 9 Abyss Devil Sovereign, trying to lure them into the cave? Moreover, I had calculated there was an extra person. That additional presence was very likely him. For an artifact to attract all 8 of them at once, there had to be a deeper scheme behind it. While they had stumbled upon treasure, greed had also been awakened within them. Initially, I thought I could use them as bait to reclaim the celestial energy, but now, they seemed intent on using us, me and the Dragon Lady, as bait instead, so they could enter the cave and retrieve even more artifacts for themselves. After all, they had only secured a single artifact, hardly divisible among 8 people. This spelled major trouble. So, who would ultimately serve as the bait? I smirked. These 8 individuals were clearly plotting something. Leaning in close to the Dragon Lady, I told her quietly. She looked shocked. "They want to use us as bait?"